Hey, I'm Danny Glover with Glover Law Firm in Elizabeth City. I represent injured people all over northeastern North Carolina, including the Outer Banks. Been doing that for 22 years, and I want to talk to you specifically today about bicycle accidents and bicycle wrecks. It may not look it, but several years ago, for about 10 years, I was a competitive cyclist racing road bikes all over Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. In my heyday, I was riding 200 to 250 miles a week, and so I know about the dangers of cycling on our North Carolina roads. In places like Raleigh and Charlotte, it's not as big a deal as it is in northeastern North Carolina, because in those big cities they have greenways and they have bike lanes, and cyclists are provided an area of safety. Unfortunately, in Edenton, Gates County, Elizabeth City, the Outer Banks, we have very few bike lanes. In fact, the Corolla Duck area is about, and then down the beach road through Kill Devil Hills and Nags Head, are about the only areas I can think of that have designated bike lanes for any length of distance. So that leaves the cyclist in our area to basically fend for themselves on the public roads. Now, it shouldn't be that way. The law in North Carolina is that a bicycle is treated the same as an automobile. The same rules of the road apply, the same rights of the road apply. And so it is not the rule in North Carolina that cyclists have to get onto the shoulder when a car is approaching them from the rear. It is the rule in North Carolina that that cyclist up ahead of the car has the right-of-way, and the car behind can pass when it is safe and legal to do so. Unfortunately, a lot of our drivers in northeastern North Carolina think the automobile or the truck has the right-of-way, and they sort of blow by our cyclist way too closely in a dangerous fashion, and that often creates situations where cyclists are unnecessarily and needlessly hurt because of the impatience or distraction or reckless driving of the vehicles in their immediate vicinity. One of the challenges of handling bike wrecks in northeastern North Carolina is this popular mentality that cyclists shouldn't be on the roads because there aren't bike lanes. And that becomes a challenge to overcome with the jury. So what I try to do first and foremost is to work with the insurance company. And oftentimes the adjusters aren't from this area. Now, that's not necessarily true with the Farm Bureau adjusters who typically are more local. But with the other carriers, the adjusters live and work in the big cities where they're used to seeing the bike lanes, where they're used to seeing the greenways, where they know that these automobile bicycle interactions should not be occurring. And it can be a little easier to deal with them. But oftentimes with my bike wrecks, the injuries are much more severe than injuries suffered by people riding in a car who have the protection of the cage of the car or the truck. And so we're frequently dealing with road rash. And for those of you who have not had road rash, that's one of the more painful things you can ever go through as you go to a hospital and they have to debride asphalt and rocks and sticks from underneath your skin, leaving you with raw patches that ooze and pus for weeks, if not longer. It can be very, very painful. It's tough to sleep, especially if you flip over the handlebars and you have that on your back or on your hips. Your hands, if you're not wearing gloves, can get raw and you can't use them at work. Sometimes your face will hit the pavement, resulting in permanent scarring to your face. We also deal with a lot of hip and collarbone injuries. And especially in elderly riders, the hip injury can be devastating. There are specific orthopedic injuries that are much more common for bike wreck victims than for car wreck victims. And over the 22 years that I've helped bicycle riders, I've grown accustomed and fairly knowledgeable about all those injuries, and are able to work with the orthopedic surgeons and the neurosurgeons and the plastic surgeons to obtain and provide the medical evidence necessary to make sure that my bicycle accident clients get the best possible outcome from their settlement or their trial. If you've been in a bike wreck, feel free to call me. I'm happy to talk to you about that, happy to help you with that. My name is Danny Glover with the Glover Law Firm in Elizabeth City, 252-299-5300, or you can email me at danny@dannygloverlawfirm.com.